Good day, emerging mothers. It's Dr. Michelle Lloyd tuning in because it's our 7 p.m., of course, live every Thursday. Just wanting to toss some tips and drop some gems as it pertains to, of course, those things that we can do with our teens while they're in the home. Prior to them even transitioning out. This is an awesome time to improve and increase and deepen and strengthen the bond that we have with them. And so just wanted to share just a few thoughts in reference to some things that can be done prior to them transitioning off. And really, these things can be done, of course, even if they have transitioned out of the home and they're back, of course, from the college campus, the holidays, or it can even be if our teens have graduated from college and they're back home, getting their footing prior to them launching back out, whether they've, graduated and landed a position with the company, or if they're home and will do additional schooling. Of course, these ideas will still be good because of course, many people are back home for the Christmas holidays, and so it's all about spending time anyway. So as you're spending time together and at one another's homes, for instance, Christmas will be at my home, Christmas dinner will be, and then New Year's will be at my sister's home, and then there will be an opportunity thereafter for us to all congregate at my niece's home. And so that whole idea of hosting a dinner party, whether it's for Christmas or whether it's for New Year's or whether it's, just simply to get together, involving our teens in the planning, whether it's the cooking, whether it's the organizing, setting the table, cleaning the home, there's so much to be done when hosting a dinner party, a dinner gathering. Involving our teens in doing that is imperative. It's essential. So please consider doing that as you all are communing for the Christmas holiday. You know what? Also, while they're home, to strengthen and deepen that relationship, how about even building something? It could be, maybe pottery, taking a pottery class and building a pot, if you will. We all doing that together, or creating your own pot. It could be something that you're building together as it pertains to maybe some woodwork. Getting some wood and getting some pieces and sanding them down and creating, maybe a piece of furniture or a toy or something, meaningful. Oh, it could be maybe a cutting board that you all are working on together. Building something would be absolutely phenomenal. It could include, building a pizza could be an ideal project that you all are working on together. I've been a vegetarian for 21 years, so of course I'd be building a vegetarian pizza with lots of veggies and all of those great ingredients that I love. And my daughters could spend time building a type of pizza that they love. My oldest daughter, she loves chicken and pineapple on her pizza, and my middle daughter, she liked the meats. My youngest daughter, she likes, either one of those. Of course, she wouldn't like the veggie pizza at all, but nonetheless, while they're home and while they're, before they've even transitioned out of the home, during this holiday season, of course, those are a couple of things, them being involved if you're hosting a dinner party or something at your home, or New Year's Eve gathering or what have you. Secondly, building something together, pottery or something regarding woodwork or something along those lines. You're deepening that relationship with the teen. Or it could be baking. You all baking something together. And we're so quick to watch those YouTube videos when folks are doing some decorating of a dessert. But listen, with your teen, that can help to deepen the relationship. If you're, creating, decorating a cookie or cookie cookies or cakes or maybe even pies could be awesome for you all to do some baking together and even decorating. Or, we think about maybe the meats that you all are baking or roasting or grilling for the Christmas holiday or the Christmas dinner. And maybe some of the trimmings for the meat that you all will have during your meal. That could be something that you all could do together. This way are they able to say that they're bored, which a lot of teens, love to say. I mean, mine, I think the bored word is out of their category, because the minute they used to say they were bored, listen, there was always some cleaning to do at the house, and I would begin assigning someone to, let's unload that dishwasher, or let's mop the floor or clean the fridge, or there was always, if you have a home, there's always something that needs to be done at the house. And so I learned earlier on, and so did they, real quick, that the moment that B word just was released, then, of course, I instantly went to what needs to be cleaned here at the house. It was really short-lived, that word was. They just didn't say it anymore. And so something else that could, to help strengthen your relationship, maybe you and your team, you all are into exercise. It could be maybe a PIO class or something at the local gym. That could be something that you all can do together over the Christmas holiday. I know my daughters and I, we would get up maybe like 5 a.m. in the morning, and we'd hit the gym before they went to school, because they played basketball, of course, and so their coach would be at the gym, or we would just be at the gym together. And so that's something else that can be done over the Christmas holiday to help to strengthen and deepen that relationship that you have with your team. And so, listen, drop in the chat, what do you think would be absolutely awesome for you to do with your team, whereas you're strengthening that relationship? Would it be you all maybe creating a pizza together, or would it be you all going to the gym and knocking out some cardio? What would it be? So just drop that in the chat so that the rest of us are able to know how you would go about spending that time, of course, with your teen over the Christmas holiday. It could be going to the park, it could be biking, it could be running. All of those things are amazing. All of those activities and outings are amazing to, of course, do with your teen over the Christmas holiday. So I would encourage you to do that. Listen, the fifth thing that would be absolutely amazing for you and your team to do would be, writing a letter to yourself. If I would write a letter to my younger self, that's the key. Write it to your younger self. And what would you tell your younger self? I know for me, I would say to myself, I would write in the letter to my younger self to make sure that I am trusting God in everything. A couple of things? Every single thing. That's what I would tell myself. And remind myself that He's got you. He's got your education. He's got your things, occurring as it pertains to meeting your spouse. He's got, just things that happened in your background that, some things made you think, am I going to overcome this? He's got you in that area. Also my relocation from the Midwest down here to Texas, He's got that. He knows all. He knows us better than we know ourselves, and He's got us. And so, and in counting on Him, guess what? We're able to operate at the highest level of our calling. So that could be something that you all can do is to write a letter to your younger self. What is it that you would say? Listen, drop that down in the chat. What would you say to your younger self now that you're older? Now that you're looking at experiences and situations and circumstances circumspectly and in hindsight. What would you say to yourself? So if you would, just go ahead and share that in the chat. Also, something that could be done, and we'll be doing this, and I am super duper excited. We'll be going to 3 different ones. We'll be visiting a museum since my daughters are here and also my mom is in town visiting. Of course, we'll go to a museum. She loves to do that. So do I. My dad was a history buff, and so just knowing about the past and picturing, what were times like. I know a museum we're going to go to in particular. The focus was, just the earlier days of building certain houses and paving certain roads, and the existence of certain communities here in Houston, and us going back and revisiting what those communities look like. And so, and being able to share that with our teens, of course, whether our teens are still in the home, whether they have transitioned out of the home, or whether they've, transitioned out of the home and now they're back. The museum is an essential spot for, I know, it may be for you, but definitely for my family, for us to go back and capture some things that happened in the past, and to understand what it was like to be limited in our scope in reference to our living, but by the same token, to make such progress and to be creative and to use what you have and to implement what you got in order to build a life for yourself and also for your family. So the museum would be absolutely awesome to visit that. Also, you know what? I know we're in the month of December, and for many of you, a picnic is not even an option. Some of you all are in weather that's like 10 below and 0 degrees, and we'll be here in Texas. We'll have flip-flops on, or we can on Christmas Day, because it'll be 82 degrees. But I know what it's like to be in very, very cold weather. Grew up in cold weather and pouring salt and scraping windshields and shoveling snow. I'm crystal clear about how that's done and when that's done, and driving the slick roads and the snow and lots and lots of inches as far as snow is concerned. I'm clear about that. So nope, a picnic definitely would not be for you if you live in that weather. But for others who are in warm or hot weather, it could be a picnic, and you're, of course, of course, planning and cooking the food and making the desserts and taking it out with blankets and maybe chairs and games. Of course, usually when we go on a picnic, we have to take our Uno. We have to take our kickball so the kids can play kickball. We have to, of course, take our, Connect Four or whatever other games we're playing. We have to take those in order for us to have an absolutely amazing time. And listen, I'll give 2 more. But I know it's the break. I know that. However, this could be some awesome downtime if you're wanting to jump on YouTube and take some college tours. If you have yet to visit the college and you're still pondering the idea of, between 3 or 4 colleges, or 1 or 2 colleges, or 5 or 6 colleges, it's always good to take a virtual tour. And in addition to that virtual tour, how about completing some, applications for college, or it could be maybe some scholarships, completing some applications for some scholarships, and building up your resume bank, building up your scholarship bank, in the sense that, a number of the questions on the applications, they really ask the same questions in some shape, form, or fashion. They may tweak some words here or there. However, if you respond to those questions, and create you an essay bank, if you will, then guess what? All you're doing is you're cutting and pasting, or copying and pasting in those applications, and you're able to just go through those like extremely quickly. Doing some of that over the holiday is really not a bad thing. Some people say, no, this is our holiday, and so we shouldn't be doing anything as it relates to school or anything along those lines. We were able to complete some tasks yet in peace, because it wasn't it wasn't the rat race that we're typically experiencing, of course, during the week or during the weekend when school is still in, or when there's lots of work going on. So, just asking you to consider it. And then last but not least, listen, grab your teens and you all cuddle up and watch some movies. Oh my goodness, there are so many movies that can be watched. Grab your popcorn and beverage and candies and all of those different types of things that helps you to enjoy a movie comfortably. Of course, on Christmas we make sure that we watch It's a Wonderful Life. That's a tradition for us. We absolutely love that movie. However, there are other ones out there, and so choose one, and that will be good, something to do from a festive perspective, or even during downtime when you're winding down and getting ready to head into bed. So these are the tips and the pointers and some of the things, really most of the things we'll be doing, because we're hosting, of course, and families in town. But I know that some of these will be absolutely phenomenal and amazing for you to participate in as well. So cherish your time with your teens and the rest of your family members. With your teens coming home after they have experienced, of course, some of that freedom, there may be some different feelings. You may have a different role in their lives, and the level of importance in reference to spending time with you, emerging mothers, may be different as well. And so just trying to just share some thoughts and give some feedback from a transparency perspective in reference to what may be going on. It may be kind of different while they're home. But for me, it's always important for myself and my family to keep God first in whatever it is, whatever I'm going through. I'm keeping Him first and in the center. And then, of course, my hubby, making sure that he's taken care of, I'm taken care of, so that I can take care of him, and then my daughters as well, making sure that woke up this morning and went into their rooms to pray, and after the prayer, then of course my very next question, typically after I've hugged and kissed them, is what do you have going on for the day? And so, because then that helps me to identify whether I need to tweak my day or identify some free time to make sure that they're supported in whatever it is that they're doing. And so they all let me know, and we, and then we're off. I'm working, making sure that I'm preparing for my next pieces of content that I want to share with you all, and making sure that and I still need to get back, of course, with some emerging mothers and others, on Instagram or LinkedIn, who have reached out, and I'm needing to make sure I'm answering those questions, and making sure that I'm keeping all of this in perspective as I'm going through this with you all. And for those of you who have yet to reach the stage where my family is, I'm looking to reach back and pour back into you. And then there are also some mothers in our group who are beyond where I am, and they're able to, I'll get a DM from them every now and again, and they're sharing some thoughts or sharing some ideas, and I want to make sure that I bring those thoughts and ideas right back to you all, so that we all are in the know. Emerging mothers, I appreciate I love you, and I'm just encouraged that you'll spend just precious, memorable, essential time with your teens and the rest of your family members. Take care, and I will be, of course, if there are any questions, I will respond. For those of you whom I am on my way back to you, getting ready to respond, please know that you're on my mind, and you will receive a response from me. Again, love you so very much. Have a good Christmas, and I should be back before the new year, so I can wish you a happy new year as well. Take care of yourselves, be safe, and I will see you soon.